In this series, we've covered almost all of the followers of kindly Miquella that helped us along our journey through the Land of Shadow. Leda leads the charge for her lord. Ansbach fights back against the defilement of his. Freya chooses to side with those who would bring Radahn back to life. Tiolier chooses to make St. Trina's final wish come true. Hornsent pursues his vengeance, and Dane fights us in service of Miquella. Each of these characters is a warrior in their own right, whether they fight with blades, fists, or poisons. But there's one more of their band that was simply not built for battle. Mor is a simple merchant who truly enjoys finding trinkets and curiosities for those who he holds close as allies. He's covered from head to toe in thick armor and wields no weapon, but carries an oversized shield. His relationship to Miquella's other followers and the Forager brood is compelling, as it comes across as wholly unselfish. So let's take a closer look at the final member of Miquella's followers and see what we can learn about the man behind the pot. Welcome to Elden Lore, our long-running series diving into the people, places, and merchants of the Lands Between and the Land of Shadows. If this is your first time finding the channel, we hope you learned something new from this closer look at Mor. At this point, we've covered a significant amount of enemies and allies found in Elden Ring, and with over 150 episodes in our playlist, we hope you can find whatever stories you're looking for. If there's something you want to know that you don't see in our playlist, just tell us in the comments. We also have a Discord where members of our community come together to discuss their favorite aspects of the Lands Between, so check it out if you want to talk to other FromSoft fans. If you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing, but no pressure. Your viewership is always enough for us. With that said, let's get back to the quiet forager, Mor. When we enter the Land of Shadow, we meet a number of Miquella's followers that lead us towards Ballarat Tower in search of Miquella's discarded flesh. Alongside the Honorable Sir Ansbach, there's an unassuming knight donning armor with an unusual color that looks to be weighing him down. We can ask this learned scholar about him, and Ansbach will tell us.
Must mean Sir Mor. Sir Mor is a kind and stalwart ally. He provisions our little outfit. Sir Mor traffics with the Forager brood, his brethren, who collect supplies from all corners of the land. No doubt they find inspiration in his many virtues. These are not your foes, Tarnished. Should you spot any Forager brood, be sure to mind your manners.
Who exactly the Forager brood are, we'll get to later. For now, let's focus on Mor. He's perched behind a pot, and when you speak with him, his words come softly to us.
Together, we work. Together, for Miquella the Kind. Many things we have found. I like finding things. For you, Lady Leda, her allies, and the Forager brood. Things bring joy to all.
This tells us all we need to know about our bulky boy. He speaks plainly, and he enjoys his place as a provisioner and outfitter of Needle Knight Leda and her allies. If we visit him often enough, he comes to see us as a compatriot and tells us as much.
You come often. You enjoy things. I like finding things. I like you.
The only way to learn more about Mor at this point is to follow Tiolier's questline. After we meet Tiolier, Mor speaks with us again.
I know. Give this to Tiolier. He asked me to find it. I finally found it.
This item, the black syrup, reads, an ebony black syrup held in an unglazed jar. Mor asked that this be delivered to Tiolier, an unknown liquid apparently gathered and aged by the Forager brood. This tells us more about the culture of the Forager brood. They have a knack for chemistry, it seems. We can take this mysterious black syrup to Tiolier, and he says,
What's this? I have to say, Sir Mor has an awfully sharp eye, doesn't he? It's wonderful. This ebony, as lustrous as the night sky unending. I don't think I could ever thank him enough, but I'll have to think of something.
As we already know, Sir Moore is very good at his job, but we never actually see him leave his post outside Ballarat. So how did he discover these deep purple lilies? Simply put, he has the help of the Forager brood. The Forager brood are confusing. They're essentially kindred of rot. However, they do not attack us on sight. Actually, they'll ignore us altogether unless we approach them. Once we do, they will hand us a Forager brood cookbook that gives us the ability to craft an item that grants a large stat boost. These items even tell us the effects of the Forager brood's pickled delights are enhanced by the fermentation or rotting of the ingredients. Though this results in a pungent odor, some come to find the aroma irresistible. These kindred of rot are unlike the red variations we see in the Land of Shadow and closely resemble those found in the Lands Between. But they seem to worship the goddess of rot by fermenting the items they find around the world, focusing more on the life aspect of the cycle of rot. They've somehow bonded with Moore, perhaps through shared interest or maybe by raising him as one of their own, and they're essentially his boots on the ground, gathering resources and knowledge which they relay to this merchant. If we go out of our way to meet with each member of the Forager brood, even help one who's fallen cold, we do Moore a great service, and he will appreciate your companionship. The Forager brood cookbooks further drive home their partnership with Moore, a record of crafting techniques left by the non-human Forager brood, shared out of kindness towards Moore and his kin. If we meet with all of the brood, Moore will even reward us with the 7th cookbook, which tells us something a little different. A record of crafting techniques left by the non-human Forager brood, shared out of kindness toward their savior, whose name was unknown. Perhaps the savior whose name is unknown is actually us, but more important are the items this cookbook teaches us to make: the spirit raisin and the charming branch. Aside from the DLC announcement image showing us Mikola riding Torrent, this item is the only thing about Shadow of the Erdtree to tie these two together. One of Torrent's favorite treats, and a branch with a sliver of Mikola's power. This aside, the mystery remains. What does Moore have to do with the Forager brood? I believe his armor and shield hold the answer. The verdigris armor set tells us it is made from an unusual metal known as verdigris. Verdigris is said to be the gift of an outer god, possessed of an enormously hefty yet supple strength, thanks to its rusted nature. Both the armor and the verdigris great shield are made of this unique metal. But what outer god could possibly be connected to rust? What is rust but metal's rot? Moore, in some way, is directly tied to the goddess of rot, and regardless of whether he himself was gifted this armor, or it was passed down to him, it's likely that this is why he was seen as a friend to the Forager brood. Upon seeing him wear the metal of their god, these creatures likely fell in line behind him. If we consider the idea that Moore may have received this armor from Melania, then the Forager brood would be of those kindred of rot who once resided at the Halig Tree. Perhaps Moore's connection to Mikola and his sister is older than we know, and he was enchanted specifically because he was a kind soul who Mikola trusted to take care of his allies. Upon the shattering of Mikola's Great Rune, things became more complicated for Moore.
Don't feel it. It's broken. Kind Mikola's light is gone. But I stand tall. Together, we work. Together, for Mikola the Kind. I don't know what to do. Our mother abandoned her brood. She did not love us. We are her children. What should we do? Must we be sad forever?
For me, this line of dialogue solidifies the idea that Melania is the goddess referred to by Moore's armor, and that Moore himself was likely raised among the kindred of rot as one of their own. This would explain his strange way of speaking, as if he's uncertain of every word, barely able to get them out. As Gowry told us, Melania abandoned the kindred of rot, which means she could have abandoned Moore as well. We can then choose to tell Moore to either put his feelings behind him or remain sad forever. Neither are very good options, but we can also choose to simply tell him we don't know what this means for him. If we tell him to put the pain behind him, he says,
Maybe that's kindly Mikola's love. Love for all the unloved. Love to banish the pain.
which leads to him siding with Letta against us in order to fight for Mikola. If we tell him to remain sad forever, we will eventually come across his corpse outside the Church of the Crusade, but there's no true explanation as to why. The best option in my eyes is to say we don't know what Moore should do next, and in doing so, we spare him from a terrible fate either way. If we choose not to influence Moore, he will simply stay at his little jar, selling us items as needed, and will even sit out the final battle with Lady Letta. He may not fight by our side against Radahn, but he survives, the only member of Mikola's troop who can successfully do so. After defeating Mesmer, he will tell us,
I don't know how to be still. I have my brood. I enjoy foraging. It is enough.
But after we defeat the promised consort Radahn, he will say,
My brood is no more. No one comes to visit. Not Lady Leda. Not Father Dane. Not Sir Ansbach. Not Freya. Not Tiolier. Not the Horn Scent. Where have they all gone? Thank you. No one comes to visit. Except you.
It is sad to think that all of Moore's compatriots met death either at our hand or that of kindly Mikola and his consort. But as some small consolation, Moore still gets to walk away with his life. It's fitting that the most gentle member of our DLC compatriots is the only one with the potential to make it through the Land of Shadow in one piece. Not only that, he's our only tie, be it an ambiguous one, to Melania in Shadow of the Erdtree. As long as we treat the Forager brood with respect, and we don't pretend to have the answers to Moore's larger questions, we can enjoy a long and fruitful relationship with our favorite vendor. I only wish we could bring him with us to the lands between, so he's not trapped in the Land of Shadow, forever waiting for compatriots who will never return to his side. At least he has us, and should we finish our journey, it's never bad to be friends with the Elden Lord. Thank you for joining us for a closer look at Moore, the gentle knight who defends the Foragers. Do you believe the verdigris armor directly ties Moore and his specific Forager brood to Melania? Did you kill the Forager brood, thinking they were regular enemies, and face the wrath of Moore? Is his name meant to portray a need for more foraging, more things? After all, things bring joy to all. Let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and set notifications to all, so you never miss out on any of our lore dives. We look forward to seeing you again for more Elden Lore.